Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? And this has been probably the biggest week of the year with the Mandalorian and Grogu official trailer. It has over 10 million views already in its first 4 days, which is great news for Star Wars fans. But we got to talk about these Ahsoka Season 2 leaks, because finally we are getting some connections between Ahsoka Season 2 and the Mandalorian and Grogu, and not just Zeb Orrelios. Well, yes, him, but more than just that. We'll talk about all of that, plus George Lucas, his 50 fully completed scripts for Star Wars Underworld have resurfaced, and now fans think it could still be happening because Dave Filoni's the CEO of Lucasfilm. We got a lot to get into and not a lot of time, so without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? So from Ahsoka Season 2 to the Mandalorian and Grogu, this week has been incredible for Star Wars news. We are less than 50 days. Somebody checked the exact amount of days, but we are less than 50 days away from Maul Shadow Lord's premiere on April 6th. So we are just drowning, literally drowning in Star Wars news right now, and it's absolutely insane. Galactic Racer just gave us some updates on how that game's going to look, and maybe even possibly coming close to a release date sometime soon. And we just have even Rogue One. We got Rogue One 10th anniversary comics coming out, prequels to certain characters from the movie. It's just an insane amount of Star Wars news all the time. But as you guys know, I am most excited this year for Ahsoka Season 2, and the fact that we can connect Ahsoka Season 2 to the Mandalorian and Grogu in a very specific way today is awesome. So we got some Ahsoka Season 2 leaks to talk about as well. But before we get to any of that, let's start the stream the only way we know how, by saying hi to everybody in the chat. Shall we? Shall we? Okay, let's start there. Ron, what is up? How we doing? Fed, how we doing? Starship 66 in the house. Vegas Jedi in the building. Brandon Baker, how we doing? Nathan, what is up? The Dave that loves Star Wars, great name. Lobo, how we doing? Darth Plagueis lives in the building. Mando United, how we doing? 730 Evie, what is up? Caleb, how we doing? 50 Thunderer in the building. Holly, what is up? April, how we doing? All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so we're going to start with the Ahsoka Season 2 stuff. We're going to start with the Mandalorian and Grogu stuff and the connection between those two projects. But we will do that in a second because it's been 4 days. It's been 4 days since this Mandalorian and Grogu trailer dropped. And we'll do a couple things here. First, we're going to check out the viewership numbers in a second. Oh, hang on. We're going to check out the viewership numbers. So let's start there, and then we'll watch it because, let's be honest, there's no better way to start off a live stream than watching this new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. I know we've probably all watched it a million times at this point. Of the 10 million views, I'm probably 9.9 million of them. But either way, let's start the stream correctly here by getting hyped up with the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, and then we'll talk about these Ahsoka Season 2 leaks. Sound good, chat? Sound good, chat? All right, let's do that. First and foremost, this is sitting at 10 million views. It is now number 2 on the movie trending charts. I don't know what's number 1. Can we check? Let's find out. It's the Toy Story one. So we were just talking about the Toy Story trailer on Thursday's live stream because it came out on Thursday. It has overtaken, because it came out after, the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. So, what happened? Oh, we'll just back there. 10 million views in its first 4 days. That's enormous. The first trailer that came out 5 months ago only has 12 million views. So the hype level for this movie is growing at a rapid rate. People are talking about it online, all the Easter eggs from the trailer. It's just, you're seeing edits for the movie. The hype is growing very, very quickly. And now we are 3 months away. 3 months away from this movie. So let's watch the trailer and get hyped up, shall we? How many times have you watched this trailer? Tell me in the chat. Because honestly, I've lost count. I have no idea how many times I've watched this trailer. I just know it's a lot. But tell me in the chat. All right, Let's start here. Never gets old. Never gets old.
Hey, never touch the buttons. I can use some information.
Whoa, for this price, I'll tell you whatever you want.
I'm looking for a hut.
Close for the night. Thank you.
Gangsters, war criminals.
Long live the Empire.
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
This isn't about revenge.
Revenge is not the Jedi way.
It's about preventing another war.
Strap in.
You will suffer. And then it will be his turn.
Before going into harm's way, check your armor. The kid will live centuries beyond me. I won't always be around to protect him.
Are you scared? You should be.
Do we run? Or do we fight?
I like this kid.
What are you waiting for? Let's save the rest for after dinner.
Never gets old. Never gets old. But May 22nd, I mean, what are we at? February 21st right now? February 21st. We're 3 months away. 3 months away from this movie. Start the countdown because it's getting very, very close, very, very fast. And before this, we're going to watch 10 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord, the entire first season of that show. So we got a lot of Star Wars stuff coming up, but just getting hyped up with that trailer to start off the live stream is always the best way to start because a lot of that actually does tie into the Ahsoka Season 2 leaks that we're talking about today. Because now we're getting physical items and people who are crossing over from one project to the next. But before we do that, let me actually put up a poll. I'm interested to know, because we haven't done this in a while, where you guys are at in terms of the big three. And by the big three, I mean Maul Shadow Lord, Mandalorian and Grogu, and Ahsoka Season 2. All coming out in 2026. Which Star Wars project are you most excited for? Which Star Wars project coming in 2026 are you most excited for? You got Maul Shadow Lord. We'll do it in release order. Maul Shadow, there we go. Lord, The Mandalorian and Grogu, Mando and Grogu, and Ahsoka Season 2. Which one are you most excited for? Tell me in the chat. Where are we at? And why? For me, it's Ahsoka Season 2, mostly because of the way Season 1 ended. All the cliffhanger stuff with Thrawn as the heir to the Empire, with all those sleeping or dead Nightsisters going to Dathomir, and the setup of, the Mortis gods and Bale and Skull and possibly Abeloth. I mean, we'll talk about it plenty today. But now you add the fact that The Mandalorian and Grogu, the first Star Wars movie in over 6 years, is going to connect directly to Ahsoka Season 2. That just grows my hype by a million. Let's just talk about the leak. Okay, let's talk about the leak first. So tell me in the chat, which project are you most looking forward to? I'll get to that super chat in 1 sec. And let's talk about this leak, okay? By the way, right off the bat, The Mandalorian and Grogu is winning this poll. That is something I never expected a week ago. but this trailer has changed the landscape of the Star Wars fandom. The hype level for The Mandalorian and Grogu has gone through the roof pretty much overnight, at least over the last 4 weeks. All right, let me get to the super chat, and then we'll take a look at this leak. Darth Plagueis Lives with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate it. Ahsoka Season 2 leaks. What a wonderful day. What a wonderful day. Will Din and Grogu be in Ahsoka Season 2? Appreciate all that you do. No, I appreciate all that you do, Darth Plagueis. Without you, we wouldn't have Palpatine. We wouldn't have Darth Vader. We wouldn't have the Skywalker saga. So I appreciate all you do. But seriously, I appreciate the super chat. Will Din and Grogu be in Ahsoka Season 2? That's a great question. That's a great question. I kind of want to put it up in a poll, but I just started this poll. So we'll leave that for later. Tell me in the chat, do you think Din Djarin and Grogu will be in Ahsoka Season 2? We know Zeb Orrelios will be. Will Din and Grogu be right alongside? Tell me in the chat. And, well, it kind of depends on if Din Djarin survives the events of the movie. I guess that remains to be seen. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look going back to Morai the Messenger. Again, this is a leak, so take it with a giant grain of salt because leaks have been wrong many, many times before, as we learned this week. This week with the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Okay. Possible spoilers, I suppose. Morai exclusive. Watching the recent Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, the U-Wing, if you're not familiar with what that is, the U-Wing looks something like this. It was in the first teaser trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu. It is the, I guess, Cassian Andor ship, for lack of better. You'll recognize it from Rogue One or Andor because Cassian is the one piloting it. So that's the U-Wing, not to be confused with the X or Y-Wing. The U-Wing right there, as seen in the trailer. The U-Wing we see landing on Adelphi base reminds me of something I was told months ago. So here's a brief description of a scene from Ahsoka Season 2. Again, take it with a giant grain of salt. War! War! A blue-striped U-Wing. Blue-striped. Hang on. Okay, blue-striped. Checks out so far. A blue-striped U-Wing carrying New Republic reinforcements makes its descent towards the surface of Dathomir. You've piqued my interest. Either the pilot loses control or they are shot down. But the ship crash lands in the thicket of giant thorny vines. Sounds very Dathomir-like, which I've shared a previous photo of. We've seen that before. It's right here. You know, the behind-the-scenes look of Dathomir with all those thorns, giant, thorns. Honestly, worst nightmare, Everybody, like, thorn bushes are the worst, and these are just giant thorns? No, thank you. How much do you want to bet in Ahsoka Season 2 at least one person gets impaled by a giant thorn? Not a main character or anything, just like maybe a Nightsister or a New Republic officer completely impaled by, it depends on how violent they go, I guess, but the opportunity is there. Okay, continuing. Where was I? Oh, yes, thorny vines on Dathomir. Some of the vines snap underneath the ship, and the engine or two, breaks upon impact, shattering across the ground. The troopers then have to move on foot, leaving them vulnerable to whatever lurks in the shadows. So, big old war on Dathomir so far. U-Wing, a blue-striped U-Wing that's seen in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, is coming in as reinforcements, gets shot down out of the sky. Now, who is in that? Well, it seems like they survive. The troops do survive and move on foot. I think it's Zeb Orrelios, and I'll get to why in a second, but are Din and Grogu with them? I suppose that's my question to you, chat. Will Din and Grogu be a part of those reinforcements because now they're, buddies with Zeb Orrelios and working alongside the New Republic? Why wouldn't they be involved? Okay, continuing. Not totally clear if this group of soldiers includes any of the Ghost crew, but as we've reported previously, Hera, Jason Syndulla, that's an important one, Ezra, and Chopper gets separated from the group. So not just Hera, Ezra, and Chopper on Dathomir get separated, but Jacen Syndulla is there as well. Keep that in mind. Some scenes we've been told about involving them include exploring creepy caverns and encountering something that Ezra fights. We think it's some big CGI monster. Whatever it was not on set physically, so it's something that is probably created digitally in post, and likely either a CGI monster or something they wanted to keep a secret. We've talked about those leaks before. That's nothing new. This is something we've talked about many times. That being said, and this is my own speculation now, so now we're getting into this person's own speculation. I have a feeling I know whose Ewing that is because we saw it in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. And then they go on to say, Dave, don't you dare touch Zeb. I don't think he'll kill off Zeb. If any Ghost crew members die in Ahsoka Season 2, I think it's going to be Hera Syndulla. But we've talked about that before. I don't need to, get into the details there. It's just a significant death that would mean a lot. And, of course, after things happened in Rebels, it would be very meaningful to specifically the character of Jacen Syndulla. So there you have it. So, as described, a war on Dathomir. That's nothing new. We've talked about those leaks a million times before. This big old fight for the big red planet versus the big blue meanie with Ezra's big green lightsaber. Wait, is Ezra's new lightsaber blue? I think it is. Either way. A bunch of big colored things. You got the blue striped Ewing that's seen in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. This one right here. This was seen in the teaser trailer from a few months ago, 5 months ago. And then the new trailer, which, if I pull it up right here, which shows the same Ewing. Where the hell is it? Hang on, Chad. I will find it. Just patience. Hang on. Wait a second, Chad. We can do this. We got this. We can find it. We can find it. Hang on. Wait. It's got to be here somewhere. It's got to be in this trailer somewhere. I know it. Wait a second.
It's beyond me.
Hang on. I think it's earlier than this, but we're already committed. Hang on. Wait a second. Yeah, it's got to be. Okay, hang on. Start from the beginning. Boop, 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 boop. Hang on, Chad. Wait a second. Wait. We'll find it. We'll find it. Wait. It's got to be here somewhere. What did they edit out the Ewing? What the hell? Oh, there it is. Hey, we found it. Oh, I think I just skipped it. Found it. So there's the Ewing. So it is appearing in both trailers, the one from 5 months ago and this one here. Whoever is piloting that ship is very significant. And honestly, I think it could be Zeb. I don't think it's Sigourney Weaver's character because she is seen wearing the X-Wing suit. So I think she's an X-Wing pilot. But I think this could be Zeb's ship. Now, we were led to believe that the Razor Crest was Zeb's ship and he's just gifting it to Din Djarin. I don't think that's really the case. I mean, if it is the case, then who's piloting the Ewing? Why is this Ewing just hanging out? I guess it's landing on the Adelphi base, but why is it just hanging out in the first trailer when it's right here? Somebody's got to be piloting it, unless it's just, I guess, hovering there. Maybe a droid is piloting it, I guess. Do you think R5 is still hanging out with Din Djarin? Okay. I don't know. R5 was a pretty big role in Season 3, and now maybe just put into the scrap pile. But going back to this leak. So a blue-striped Ewing that we saw in The Mandalorian and Grogu is coming as New Republic reinforcements to Dathomir, to this big war on Dathomir. And as it descends towards the surface, it gets shot out of the air or loses control. I'm assuming it gets shot out of the air. And it crash lands into the giant vines, the thorny vines of Dathomir. And the troopers, unnamed, have to move on foot, leaving them vulnerable to what lurks in the shadows, meaning sneak attack. Now, the coolest part about this scene is that the concept art images that we got at Star Wars Celebration a year ago do give some validity to these leaks. They do actually give some oomph to these leaks. So take a look at this. We've seen these images a million times before, but now with this information, they make so much more sense. These New Republic troopers getting absolutely ambushed by stormtroopers on Dathomir. Another look here that looks like to me, hang on. That looks like to me, Zeb, the pointy elbow kind of is a giveaway. Plus he looks a lot bigger than even the stormtroopers behind him, and his face looks, shaped weird. It looks like Zeb. That looks like Zeb. Does not look like Zeb to any of you, chat? Does that look like Zeb to you? So I think that this concept art image that we got at Star Wars Celebration over a year, almost a year ago now, is showing us what this leak is describing. This is the transport that got shot down, the U-wing of reinforcements from the New Republic that got shot down, and these are the characters who are left vulnerable in the open. And Zeb is just one of them. So to me, it looks as though this image specifically is showing what that leak is describing. And I love it, because here's the thing. How does Zeb go from being a character who's not with the Ghost Crew anymore to, and being in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie as well, to being back with them? Why wasn't he in season 1? Why is he hanging out on a Adelphi base by himself? There was some sort of falling out, I suppose, of the Ghost Crew that we just haven't been told about yet. Because after, well, Samantha, if you're watching this live stream, you got to get out of here. I'm going to start spoiling Rebels really quickly. So if you're watching, click away. After season 4, after Kanan Jarrus, dies, I really hope she's clicked away by now. After he dies, after Ezra disappears, the Ghost Crew, I guess, is hurt, to say the least. And we know that Ahsoka and Sabine do some training together, so they're really separated. Hera has a child, which I'm sure makes things even more complicated, but it seems as though the fight may stop for many of them. But not Zeb. Here's the thing. If Hera goes off and has a child, she's going to have to look after the child. She can't really fight during all of that. And Chopper's with Hera, so they're doing their thing. And then Sabine goes and trains with Ahsoka. Ezra's gone. Kanan's dead. That leaves one member of the Ghost Crew. One. That's it. And it's our boy, Zeb Orrelios. So what does he do in all of that? What is he left to do by himself? Well, he continues to fight. He continues to fight by himself. And eventually when the Empire falls, he becomes a New Republic ranger or officer, whatever you want to call him. And that's why we see him by himself. And again, this is just my speculation. By himself on the Adelphi base. Because everybody else had things to do. I mean, Ezra got, blasted into hyperspace by Purrgil, and Kanan Jarrus died, but other people had things to do. Hera raise a child, Chopper to help raise said child, and Sabine Wren to go off and train with Ahsoka. So Zeb, of all the Ghost Crew members, was left to fight by himself, which kind of is sad. All his friends left him or died, and he's left to fight the fight by himself, which kind of stinks. But having said that, now we get to see how he rejoins the crew, because slowly but surely, and don't call me Shirley, all of the Ghost Crew members are coming back together. Well, I guess there's substitutions happening. At the beginning of Ahsoka Season 1, Hera and Sabine are not really talking to each other much. Sabine's still on Lothal, doing her own thing, and Hera is a general of the New Republic. So although Jason is older now, Hera and Zeb aren't working together. They're still separated. But Sabine goes to Peridia, and that, of course, we see in Season 1, does the Uno reverse switcheroo with Ezra. So Ezra's back in the galaxy. Chopper, Ezra, Jason, and Hera are all together now. And as this leak does indicate, they are all together. Hang on, wait. They are all together on Dathomir. as it says here, Hera, Jason, Ezra, and Chopper get separated from the group. So if indeed they are in deep doo-doo this time, they would call in reinforcements, and the reinforcements they would call would be their good pal, Zeb Aurelius. This is something that's happened before. Actually, me and Samantha just watched the season 3 finale of Rebels 2 days ago. Yeah, because we just started season 4 yesterday. So 2 days ago, we watched the season finale. And if you cast your mind back to the greatest show of all time, in Rebels season 3, in the finale, they get pinned down on Atollon by Thrawn. You know, Thrawn just being the badass that he is. Little did he know that, you know, the Bendu was going to be his downfall. But either way, they have the rebels pinned down on their rebel base, and the only way that they can save the day, I suppose, is by Ezra escaping and getting Sabine for reinforcements. So this has happened before. The Ghost crew has been separated. Sabine goes to Mandalore for a couple episodes, and she's completely out of the show. And then they go back, and she is the one who rescues them and saves the day. So same thing, Zeb is separated from Ezra, Chopper, Jason, and Hera, and now he's going to be the one who comes in as reinforcements to hopefully save the day. I don't know if he's going to be enough. It seems like these reinforcements get shot down out of the sky, and it doesn't really work. But either way, it's going to be very similar to that third season where Zeb and the U-Wing, again, the U-Wing that's seen in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, blue-striped U-Wing, will be the reinforcements. So, I suppose, let's go back to that super chat for a second and ask the chat. And I actually want to put it up in a poll. So if you have not voted on this poll yet, vote on it now because it's going away in a second. But do you think the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and Grogu are in this U-Wing from this leak? Now, we see the U-Wing. We see the U-Wing in the trailer. We see Din and Grogu flying up to said U-Wing. Now, granted, they're not going to go straight from this scene to Dathomir because that's not how this works. But do you think Din and Grogu will be at that fight? This war for Dathomir, do you think they will be there? And if not, why? Is it because Din Djarin's going to die and you agree with me that he's going to die? Or are they doing something more important? The ending of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is so important to what they are doing, to what is happening in the galaxy. Because we talked about on Thursday, it's possible that Din and Grogu are separated. Somebody mentioned it in the chat. I forget who. Shout out to you. What if the movie ends with Din and Grogu completely separated? Maybe Grogu's captured. Maybe Din Djarin's captured. Either way, we see the weird scenes of Grogu training in that forest planet. What if they are separated? It would lead to, I guess, there's a big question. And it's why would Din and Grogu not be involved with Ahsoka Season 2? Why wouldn't they be? If Zeb is coming over from one project to the other, and he is the New Republic reinforcements, why wouldn't Din and Grogu be there too? If they're hanging out with the New Republic, if Din Djarin is not a liar, which I don't think he is, if he's not a liar and he's saying that he's going to help out the New Republic, and he's even saying this in the trailer. Oh, this is the wrong spot. Hang on.
Tell you whatever you want. Thank you.
Gangsters, war criminals.
Long live the Empire.
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
If they are really going to go through every single, by the way, look at this. If we're going to go through, if they are really going to go through every single criminal and Imperial in their deck of cards, then why wouldn't Din and Grogu be involved with the Thrawn stuff? Why wouldn't they be involved with Ahsoka Season 2? Something is not adding up. Now, maybe the Mandalorian and Grogu will give us the insight that we need to explain why they're not in Ahsoka Season 2. But something needs to make sense. And right now, it doesn't. Because why wouldn't they be involved in the story? It's just like Mando Season 2. Mando is looking for a home for Grogu, a Jedi. So it makes perfect sense that he crosses paths with, I guess Bo-Katan, because she's a Mandalorian, but Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker, the two Jedi Ahsoka's no Jedi, but the two Jedi of the galaxy at the time. It would make sense that they would cross paths in that season. The same way, it would make sense that if Din and Grogu are not lying here, I guess Grogu doesn't lie, but he does salute. If Din Djarin is not lying here, and they are really going to help the New Republic go through all these Imperials and all these criminals, then why would he not be involved with Thrawn? Why would he not be involved with Ahsoka Season 2? Tell me in the chat. Tell me why. And I don't mean it like, tell me why. Tell me why. Okay, let me actually put this up in a poll because I'm very interested to see what you guys think. Oh, wow. Ahsoka Season 2 pulls ahead in the end in this poll. But which project are you guys looking forward to or most excited for in 2026? Ahsoka Season 2 does take it, but it's 40% to 39%, so a very, very close poll there. Mandalorian and Grogu sits at 39% of you guys, and Maul Shadowlord, the lowest, at 21%. Now, granted, animation for Star Wars is not always its most popular stuff, but I would argue that it is the best. I hesitate to say that because my favorite Star Wars movie is Revenge of the Sith. My favorite single season of Star Wars television is Ahsoka. But my favorite series of Star Wars is Rebels. Clone Wars is incredible. Bad Batch is incredible. Tales is all great. And Maul Shadowlord might be really, really good too. So, animation, although not as many people watch it, then it's still like, it's still important. It's still very, very good, but it does lose the poll. So Maul Shadowlord, although it is the first and next upcoming project, it does lose the excitement poll. Okay. Do you think Din Djarin, and again, this fully depends on whether or not he dies in the movie, and Grogu will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Ahsoka. Yes or no? Do you think Din and Grogu will appear in Ahsoka Season 2? Now, I'm not saying they'll be main characters. I'm not saying they'll be steal the show type whatever. But just as Ahsoka is in an episode of The Book of Boba Fett, is in an episode of Mando Season 2, and Din Djarin and Grogu are both in The Book of Boba Fett, why can't they both be in Ahsoka Season 2? I know there's always the joke that Book of Boba Fett is just Mando Season 2.5. And it's a really comical joke, It makes me laugh really a lot. But Din and Grogu play a big part in that story. And it would make sense that they would play a big part in this next one too. Now, I know it would be like, oh, that's a lot of Din and Grogu for 1 year, but Grogu is everywhere. I mean, look down. He's on your shirt right now. He's actually on my shirt today, so I had to say it. But it would make sense that those two, like they appeared in Book of Boba Fett, would appear in this show as well. Especially if you're trying to connect all of this. If you're trying to get the normie fans to realize that all of this is connected, it should be more like Mando Season 2 and more like the Book of Boba Fett, where characters are crossing over between these stories. That's why when we talked about Skeleton Crew Season 2 last week, when that was the big reveal from the Production Weekly thing, if they do a Skeleton Crew Season 2, again, those characters are now going to have to cross over with the other stories because Dave Filoni's movie, as it was announced almost 3 years ago now, that's crazy to think about, but as it was announced almost 3 years ago now, is supposed to be a culmination movie of all of these different Disney Plus shows. Mandoverse Disney Plus shows. From The Mandalorian to The Book of Boba Fett to Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka, all those characters are supposed to come together to fight one big threat. And that one big threat, of course, is going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn. But those characters, specifically Ahsoka characters and Skeleton Crew characters, have not really made the crossover. Ahsoka has specifically, but not the Ghost Crew, not Fern, Neil, Wim, and KB. they haven't made the crossover yet. So Ahsoka Season 2 would be a pretty good spot to start doing that. Yeah. Tell me what you think. Do you think they'll announce Kenobi Season 2 this year? If they are going to make a Kenobi Season 2, then next year would be the year to do it. They'll do it at Star Wars Celebration because it's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. They'll be like, hey, you remember that character that was introduced 50 years ago in A New Hope and died? We're making a Season 2 of his show. And we're bringing back Hayden and we're bringing back Ewan. That's where they would do it. So I don't think it would happen until 2025. Give Grogu a lightsaber? Well, if they're hanging out on Ilum, he might just happen upon a kyber crystal, but we'll see. We'll see. If Din Djarin dies, I can't see it. If they get separated, wouldn't they be more concerned on finding each other? Well, if Din Djarin dies, he's definitely not going to be in Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Ahsoka's in another galaxy, so how in the hell are Din and Grogu going to be in that show? Explain that? Oh, gladly. So Ahsoka Season 2 is going to take place in 2 different galaxies. A lot of it, as you could tell from the concept art that Dave Filoni gave to us last year, a lot of it does take place in 2 different places. This being Dathomir with our characters who are in the main universe, Ezra, Hera, Chopper, and Enoch up top. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Nightsisters, all those people being in the main galaxy. And then a whole nother story about Mortis Gods, Balin Skull, Shin Hati, Ahsoka, Sabine, and Hugh Wang. That'll all happen in a different galaxy. So I'm still going, how the hell did they do all of that in 8 episodes? But yes, we are definitely getting, just like in season one, we're getting the story of both universes, both galaxies. Sorry. So when we were getting Hera Syndulla in front of the New Republic Council, we were also getting Sabine and Ezra on Peridea. Yeah. So Din and Grogu would not be on Peridea. They would be in our main galaxy at the battle or war of Dathomir. Indeed. Mike, in terms of excitement level, my list goes Ahsoka Season 2, Mandalorian and Grogu, then Maul Shadow Lord. I'm virtually anticipating all 3, especially because they are all interconnected. It's likely that because Dathomir is going to be, or maybe, in Maul Shadow Lord, and we know that it's going to be in Ahsoka Season 2, there could be some connection between those shows. Yeah. Mike, where does Ahsoka Season 2 take place? Is that like... Did I not just explain that? So Ahsoka Season 2 takes place in 2 different galaxies. One being the Peridea Galaxy, and another one being the main Star Wars galaxy. Oh no.
This is where the fun begins.
Yeah. Dathomir is definitely going to be in Shadow Lord. I hope so, because there's a big opportunity that we could see a big connective piece between Maul Shadow Lord and Ahsoka Season 2. And that would be Dathomir. And I guess the events and characters that take place on that planet. Because you have stuff from the Jedi games, like a character like Taron Malicos, who could maybe still be alive by the time of Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah. Indeed. No worries. Okay. But going back to this leak, going back to all of it, it does make sense that Zeb would appear in Ahsoka Season 2 in the same ship, the blue-striped Ewing, that he would appear in The Mandalorian and Grogu. So that when you see that ship show up in Ahsoka Season 2 after having seen it in Mando and Grogu, you'll be like, okay, that's Zeb, before you even see Zeb's face. It's like seeing Luke's X-Wing show up in The Mandalorian Season 2 before you even see Luke, and you're like, no way, it's actually Luke. Is it Luke? Oh my God, it's Luke. It'll be the exact same thing. You see the U-Wing show up, you're like, is Zeb in there? And then he comes out, and you're like, holy crap, it's Zeb in Ahsoka Season 2. This is awesome. But, so, in terms of, and I like to do this too because leaks can be wrong all the time, in terms of this one, the likelihood of it being true is extremely high because of not just the fact that we saw that same U-Wing in the Mando trailer, but also the concept art images that we got a year ago for this show showing stormtroopers fighting New Republic officers on Dathomir, and one of them looking quite a bit like Zeb Aurelius. And we're getting a lot, and I mean a lot of Dathomir in this second season. And seeing Dathomir in live action is going to be pretty damn badass, if you ask me. Whoa, this poll is way closer than I thought. It's almost 50-50 right now. That's wild. Okay, we'll see where that goes. Do you think Din and Grogu will be in Ahsoka Season 2? Vote on the poll. That's crazy. Okay, we'll see how that changes. But either way, this leak seems to me, again, take it with a grain of salt because, leaks can be wrong and have been wrong many, 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 many times before. But this one has the concept art images to back it. It has the ship from Mando and Grogu to back it. And Zeb Aurelius, we know for a fact, will be in both projects. So it does seem to be pretty legit. So I'll read again. War. Blue-striped U-Wing carrying New Republic reinforcements makes its descent towards the surface of Dathomir. Either the pilot loses control or they're shot down. More likely that they're shot down. I would love to see them get shot down by like a Nightsister bow and arrow type thing. But that's just, that's just me. But the ship crash lands in the thicket of giant thorny vines, which again have been seen in that picture we just looked at. Some of the vines snap underneath the ship, and an engine or two breaks up upon impact, scattering across the ground. Epic, cool explosion. Like, we're going to get Ahsoka Season 2. Well, Ahsoka Season 1 is pretty big, but we get mostly lightsaber fights in Season 1. I think Season 2 is going to be more about just all-out war. As Dave Filoni said, a war in our Star Wars. You're talking space battles. You're talking ground fights, ground assaults, stormtroopers, Nightsisters versus New Republic officers. You're going to get some really epic fight scenes. Season 1 was full of lightsaber fights. Shin Hati versus Sabine. Shin Hati versus Sabine again. Ahsoka versus Balin. Ahsoka versus Balin again. Ahsoka versus Marok. Ahsoka versus Anakin. A lot of really cool lightsaber fights in Ahsoka Season 1. But it's mostly probably going to be X-Wing versus TIE Fighters, U-Wing, Y-Wings versus TIE Fighters, the Ghost going crazy. So I think it'll be more of a war, mostly hopefully on Dathomir, than Season 1 was with the lightsaber duels. Yeah, okay, continuing. The troopers have to then move on foot, leaving them vulnerable to whatever lurks in the shadows, which is either Nightsisters or Stormtroopers. Judging by this piece of concept art, it is Stormtroopers. But either Stormtroopers or Night Troopers. Not totally clear if this group of soldiers includes any of the Ghost crew members, but it would make sense if it's Zeb because of the ship from Mando and Grogu. But as we've previously reported, Hera Jason is there, which I don't know. I mean, talk about a parenting decision. Child on Dathomir, pretty crazy, although he does have the Force, so I don't really know. Ezra and Chopper get separated from the group at some point, so this could be them in the ship, but why would they not be in the Ghost? Some scenes we've been told about involving them, including exploring creepy caverns and encountering something that Ezra fights in said creepy caverns, possibly a CGI monster. So, how old is Jason Syndulla at this point? Do we know? He's born probably, 9 months after Rebels ends? So Rebels is before A New Hope by not very long. So let's say Ezra's gone for 11 years. So he's 11 years old, right? Or maybe 10 years old? He's 10 or 11, give or take. Either way, having a 10-year-old be in a war on Dathomir, even with the Force, is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. He can't be 13. 13 would be... no, he can't be 13. Unless there's a big time jump here. Ezra's gone for 11 years. We know that. So he'd be around 10. and Ben Solo is 7 or 8 right now. Ben Solo's born, again, about 9 months after the Battle of Endor. People, right after the events of a show happen, they get crazy off screen. But no, Ben, I guess would be around 5 or 6, no? Maybe 7. Maybe. He'll survive because of plot armor. Yeah, I don't think Jason Sindula is going to die. No, but not by any means. I don't think Jason's not going to die. However, his mom might, and as we know, Jason Sindula, spelt the same way, Jacen, is kind of inspired by the character of Jason Solo. And as we know, Jason Solo turns to the dark side. And if Jason Sindula loses both his parents, he might do the same thing, which would be awesome! Let's be honest. If you don't want Jason Sindula to fall to the dark side, you're lying to yourselves because that would be so unbelievably cool. But Jason will not die in Ahsoka Season 2. But his mom might. His mom might. If Hera dies, I will eat my hat. Start eating now. Okay. We do have another Ahsoka Season 2 leak that does pertain to said Nightsisters. So let me take a look at this. Oh, well, I just scrolled past it. There it is. So this is pretty cool too. So this says unverified. So this one, the last one, again, had a lot of validity to it with the concept art images and the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. This one is more up in the air. This one's more, take it with an even bigger grain of salt than the first one because this one is probably less likely to happen. But unverified, but thought interesting to post. Francesca Carpanini, sure, an actress who apparently is in Ahsoka Season 2, was listed as having a stunt double on the UK registry site. Usually only named/important characters need stunt doubles. And Carpanini's double is also playing one of the new characters called Bog Sisters. I found this pretty crazy. So we've known about Nightsisters. We all know the Nightsisters. Maybe some people who watched The Acolyte should have been should have learned about the Nightsisters first. But either way, we know about the Nightsisters. They're now calling these, I guess, resurrected or woken up Nightsisters from Peridia, Bog Sisters. Strange. But I wonder if Francesca could be playing the cool Nightsister that's seen from the concept art, or maybe somebody else. What do you guys think? Again, this is verified, blah, blah, blah. So this is the concept art image that we got from Star Wars Celebration. And the question is this girl named Francesca Carpanini, easy for me to say, is Francesca going to be playing this specific Nightsister? Now, she could be playing any number of Nightsisters. We're going to get a ton of Nightsisters in this show, an army of them, as we saw all those crates that were transported back on the Chimera. But her having a stunt double means that her character is likely going to be in some pretty epic fight scenes, and she's an important enough character. So she might be one of like the leaders that has speaking lines for the Nightsisters or Bog Sisters, which is pretty cool to me too. But either way, what do you guys think about this? What do you think of the Bog Sister name? When I think of Bog Sisters, I think of I guess I think of the Asajj Ventress scene where she goes in Tales of the Underworld, where she gets resurrected. Like I look at that location and I think that's a bog. Let's see if I'm very far off. Define bog. Come on, Google. Oh, a wet, muddy ground too soft to support heavy body. Okay, there you go. A bog. Its second definition is a bathroom. So unless it's the Nightsisters of the toilet, we're talking about a bog. We're talking about a swampy, muddy land. Indeed. Or the toilet sisters. I mean, it could go either way. It could go a 50-50. the Bog sisters. So it could be that she is this cool concept art image of the weird, fangs looking sister, whatever there. But she does have a stunt double, which means her character will be doing some pretty cool things. Yeah. Bong sister? No. I
got a bad feeling about this.
Incorrect.
No. In the UK, bog is slang for toilet. Okay, it's the toilet sisters. It's the toilet sisters then. All right. Glad we cleared that up. So a lot of Ahsoka Season 2 leaks, to say the least. One connecting directly to The Mandalorian and Grogu, with the U-Wing and the others, directly correlating to the Nightsisters, which is pretty dang cool if you ask me. Another cool thing that I saw in possibly... Oh, never mind. All right. Another cool thing that we'll talk about this really, really quickly because it's just whatever. And then we're going to move over to the George Lucas stuff, and then we'll circle back to Ahsoka and Mando and Grogu. But we got to talk about this. This was announced yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday. Okay, so we have Rogue One 10th anniversary. 2026 is the 10-year anniversary of Rogue One. Wow, that's crazy. Rogue One is a decade old? That's insane. Okay, but either way, it's the 10-year anniversary of Rogue One, and Andor has come and gone, but we are now getting a comic series for the 10-year anniversary of Rogue One, and this is actually pretty cool. So take a look at this. Wait, what the hell is it? No, not that. Okay, so they're called Rogue One one-shots. So there's a Cassian Andor one coming out on May the 6th. Celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Rogue One, before the heist that shook the galaxy, a lone rebel operative walks into danger. Cassian Andor infiltrates the lawless maze of Carfreen. Sure. Racing against troopers, bounty hunters, and time itself in an intense espionage thriller. Set prior to Rogue One, which, you guys can't see this. That would be helpful. Set prior to Rogue One, which honestly, all of Andor takes place prior to Rogue One. But this seems to be, as it mentions the Ring of Carfreen, that's where Rogue One takes place, or starts, sorry. That's where we get introduced to Cassian's character. And that's where Cassian was off to at the end of Andor Season 2. So this almost seems like a comic that takes place right in between those two scenes, where we first get introduced to Cassian Andor and where we last see him in Andor Season 2, which honestly is a weird place to put a comic. I felt like that was the perfect segue, and now it's being added on to, I guess. The critically acclaimed, praised blockbuster, hailed as one of the best Star Wars films. I'm glad they brought this up. Tell me in the chat, now that it's been 10 years since Rogue One, where do you rank Rogue One as a Star Wars movie? Where do we rank it as a Star Wars movie? For me, it's my third favorite movie of all time. Or Star Wars movie of all time, I guess. But yeah, well, let's be honest. It's the third favorite movie of all time. Revenge of the Sith at number 1. Empire Strikes Back at number 2. And Rogue One is the number 3. It has taken the third spot. Yes, Andor made it better. But you could say that about anything. Clone Wars makes Revenge of the Sith better. Rogue One makes A New Hope better. Either way, it is number 3 for me now. It is number 3. Oh, wow. It's number 3 for a lot of people. It's the second. Okay, second is nice. That's pretty crazy. Second, just behind Solo, a Star Wars story? That's crazy. Solo's your favorite Star Wars movie ever? I don't think I've ever heard of that before. That's crazy. Nice. Love it. Third or fourth? Fourth. Okay. Third. Fifth for me. Okay. Seventh. Okay. It's an effing masterpiece. That's for damn sure. Rogue One is my top 5 for sure. Okay. All right, but return to the to the grit and glory of the rebellion on the brink. So we'll get one final story, or maybe not final, but one more story for Cassian on May 6th. Now, interestingly enough, the coolest part of all of this has nothing to do with Cassian Andor, because it ties directly back to the Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't know why, but they love to do these variant covers for the comics, and the variant covers sometimes have nothing to do with the story itself. As you can see, Din and Grogu are right on the cover of this. Now, what's interesting to me is this cover, because yes, it's Din and Grogu, but take a look at this. This is for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. As you can tell, the Razor Crest in the background is the same new Razor Crest from the Mandalorian and Grogu. The yellow of the Razor Crest is new. But what does this location look like to you, Chet? What does the background of this place look like? Now, as you tell me in the chat, I got to bring up this. I got to bring up this. Because, oh, nope, it's earlier. Yeah, here. Because in this trailer, you see the Razor Crest going through the sky, in the same sky that looks, again, we don't know the ships that are following it. They look Hutt, to say the least. Or Hutties, I suppose. But they look like the same sky as this background here. Cloudy, with a chance of maybe some meatballs. But where do we think this is? Kamino? No, Kamino's destroyed. Kamino has been destroyed completely. Now, honestly, this could just be any planet. It could be. It could very well be. Bespin. Cloud City. Cloud City, not too obvious. Well, here's why Cloud City works. We've talked about this 1,000 times before, but because of the Smuggler Run ride at Disneyland, at Galaxy's Edge was the word I was looking for. At Galaxy's Edge on May 22nd, the exact same release date of the movie, we are getting a Mandalorian and Grogu Smuggler Run ride, which means you hop in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and you go on a mission with Din and Grogu. And the 3 locations you can go to are Coruscant, the second Death Star, the wreckage of the second Death Star, and third, last but not least, Bespin. Bespin is one of those locations. Now, Bespin has not been seen in live action since Empire Strikes Back. We were just talking about The Empire Strikes Back. Since it was introduced all the way back in 1980, when Empire came out, it has not been seen since. However, with the fact that that the Smuggler Run ride is going to Cloud City, it's going to Bespin, and this variant cover, which looks an awful lot like Bespin to me, I think we could actually see it in the movie. Because as Jon Favreau said, the events of that Smuggler Run ride take place right off the screen. Bespin could be on the screen. A Lando cameo? I actually don't know. Because I know Lando, of course, well, by the time of the sequels, he's doing his thing. But he has a daughter, and then he's off looking for his daughter for a really, really long time in the time before the sequels. And that's actually why he ends up on Pasana? Is it Pasana? On that desert planet from Rise of Skywalker, because he's still looking for his daughter. He's sort of hit a dead end. But either way, I don't know, by the time of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, what Lando is doing. Is he already searching for his lost daughter? Or is that later on in the timeline? I'm not quite sure. So I don't think he's still in charge over at Cloud City. I don't think so. So even if we go there, it's likely we won't see Lando there. But I suppose he could be one of the people piloting the Millennium Falcon, which could very well be in this movie. Here's the thing. 2026 could get a very big, flip on its head type thing if The Mandalorian and Grogu, as we've just been talking about, connects directly to Ahsoka Season 2, if Din and Grogu themselves appear in Ahsoka Season 2, and if The Mandalorian and Grogu does give appearances of things and people like a Lando Calrissian, like a Hondo Unaka, like the Millennium Falcon. If the Falcon itself is there, of course, the pilots of that Falcon are going to be extremely important. Is it Chewie? Is it Han? Is it Lando? Who is it? But just seeing the Falcon itself will be a huge deal. And it opens the airlocks. It opens the door to the possibility of seeing a lot more of cameos, for lack of a better word. A lot more of those connective pieces in the Mandoverse stuff. Because if we all hope and dream enough, this will be the beginning of a trilogy. Mandalorian and Grogu, if it is successful, will be the beginning of a trilogy. And that trilogy should and hopefully will be jam-packed with people we know and love. And by that I mean Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, R2, C-3PO, Lando, the original trilogy crew. And of course, Din and Grogu and Ahsoka and all those characters. But the original trilogy crew as well. And depending on how The Mandalorian and Grogu goes, depending on if the Millennium Falcon itself is in it, depending on if you see familiar faces like we saw C-3PO in Ahsoka Season 1, if we get Leia in Season 2, or C-3PO again. By the way, speaking of C-3PO, this just popped into my head because I saw it earlier. Today is Anthony Daniels' 80th birthday. Can we get some happy birthdays to the GOAT himself, Tony Daniels, in the chat for his 80th birthday? C-3PO, the man, the myth, the legend himself, is 80 today. That's pretty awesome. So, happy birthday, Mr. Daniels. Thank you for being the coolest droid of all time. Now, here's the thing. C-3PO set the stage for all the other protocol droids and all the other droids that aren't astromechs. So, he really paved the way. The way he walked, the way he talked, he created that. But, sidetracked completely. If we see C-3PO, if we see Leia in Ahsoka Season 2, now the floodgates have opened and we can see anybody and everybody in this possible trilogy if The Mandalorian and Grogu is successful. But 2026 could be a turning point. We have seen Luke and R2 and C-3PO already. It was in Mando Season 2. He was in Book of Boba Fett, and C-3PO was in Ahsoka. So it's not like they're scared of doing that. I think they're more scared of doing Leia because Carrie Fisher's no longer with us and Mark Hamill is. However, I think if 2026 goes the way that I think it could go with Ahsoka Season 2 and The Mandalorian and Grogu, we could be getting a lot more cameos moving forward, which would be fan-freaking-tastic. And it all starts with a place we haven't seen in 46 years, Bespin, Cloud City. But what do we think? Do you think we will see any familiar faces in this movie or in Ahsoka Season 2? Any original trilogy familiar faces? And do you think this is indeed Bespin? What do we think? I think fans would love to see Leia. I know I would. Oh, fans would absolutely. I mean, think about it. When Leia shows up, young Leia shows up in Rise of Skywalker, people are like, we need more Leia using the Force and wielding a lightsaber. We just need more Leia. When Leia shows up in Rebels, when Leia shows up in Rogue One, everybody loves it, loses their minds. Because everybody loved Carrie Fisher, of course, but she created this incredible character that people fell in love with, the princess. And to see more of that character, it's like seeing more Luke. Like, people lost their minds when Luke showed up in the book of, Mando Season 2 and in the Book of Boba Fett. But we need more Leia. We need more Han. We need more Chewie. We need more of those original trilogy characters that didn't get a lot of screen time when you compare them to the prequel trilogy characters. Because Anakin, Obi-Wan, although it may not be in live action, some of it is, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, in Clone Wars, they got 7 seasons of storytelling there that the original trilogy characters just don't have. They just don't. So anything we can get with original trilogy characters would be amazing. And Bespin and the Falcon is the first stepping stone to all of that. Need Millie Bobby Brown as Leia? I'm still team deepfake. I know Millie Bobby Brown is the one that would work the most for me. I know people like Sebastian Stan for Mark Hamill or for Luke Skywalker, but he's already a lot older than Luke would be by now, so he'd be playing a younger version of an old. It would be like bringing back Mark Hamill, although Mark Hamill's even older, but still, what's the point at that point? And you could bring back Alden Ehrenreich, I suppose, but Solo did not perform well, and a lot of that to Disney was because of the recast of Han. So I am still team deepfake, 100%. If you're going to bring back Luke, which they already did, it was successful with the deepfake, very successful, and that technology just keeps getting better. So if you're going to do Leia and Han, do the deepfake. Chewie, you already got, what's his name? Jonas? Yeah, Jonas. You already got him as the new Chewie. He was Chewie in the sequels. Perfectly fine. You've already brought back R2. You've already brought back Anthony Daniels for C-3PO. Perfect. You got the whole crew back together. Just deepfake the big three. I like Billy Lord playing Leia. Yes and no. I mean, it can be Billy Lord under the technology because as much as she looks like her mom, she doesn't look just like her mom. And I don't think that it would be, there'd be a disconnect. It'd be like watching Bail Organa show up as a completely different person in Andor when literally weeks later he appears as Jimmy Smits in Rogue One. Still not over it. But either way, they can use Billy Lord as the face and then deepfake Leia's face onto it. Just exactly like they did for Rise of Skywalker, because that's exactly what they did for Rise of Skywalker when they did the flashback sequence. Yeah. So that's that. Rogue One 10-year anniversary, Cassian Andor comic coming with the variant cover of Din and Grogu, which got all the buzz. There's a bunch of other comics too here. When you look, you got a Bad Batch comic coming out soon, a New Republic comic. The Shadow of Maul, so the prequel trilogy or prequel comic to Maul Shadow Lord, May 13th, or I guess this is the number 3. Comes out May 13th. So it is one every month, which is interesting. And Zeb is a variant cover here. He looks like he's outside the Adelphi base there. Galaxy's Edge comics. Huh. Tie-in comics for Galaxy's Edge that feature Vader, Leia, Chewie. Who is that? Is this Leia? No. There's a hut right there. Who is this jet? Let's see. Princess Leia, Chewbacca, R2... Why is it spelled like that? R2-D2 and C-3PO scrambled to track down the informant at Black Spire Outpost. Will they escape Vader? So I guess this is Leia. Yeah, it must be. Why is she holding a hut? Is that Jabba or is it a different hut? Looks like Jabba. Then you got Sigourney Weaver right there, standing in front of the U-Wing. Imposter! I think she's still an X-Wing pilot just because of all the X-Wing stuff that we got from behind the scenes. Either way, a lot of comics coming, a lot of variant covers with the comics too that give us a little bit of information. You got a Fallen Order comic, I suppose. You got a Mandalorian comic. Yeah, there you have it. So those are the comics. That's the big thing. Big deal with Rogue One's 10-year anniversary. I wonder if they'll do more for that, like a cool comic one-shot with Cassian's cool, but I really hope they do more. A re-release in theaters for a 10-year anniversary would be great. I'd love to see Rogue One on the big screen. I know I've seen it already on the big screen, but seeing it again would be great. But I don't know what else they could do, I guess. Maybe announce an Andor season 3. No, I'm kidding. Okay, but either way, that's that. Now let's switch gears to the George Lucas of it all. So, I'm sure many of you know about Star Wars Underworld. Give me a 1 into the chat if you've heard of George Lucas's Star Wars Underworld show. Tell me in the chat. It is a series that had a full-on, like, they filmed scenes, but it was supposed to be an underworld show on Coruscant. It was supposed to be this big thing, and George Lucas had written up to, it says, between 48 and 50 scripts for a live-action show. That's a lot of scripts. Fully written scripts. 50 of them.
This is where the fun begins.
Now, you might be saying, Mike, why are we talking about this? This is old news, blah, 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 blah. It's become extremely relevant again. Because between 48 and 50 scripts for George Lucas's live-action Star Wars Underworld show were completed and ready to film before George Lucas sold his company to Disney. Now, why is this significant in February of 2026? Well, last month, there was a big old leadership change at Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy stepped down as CEO and president of the company and was replaced by 2 co-presidents in Dave Filoni and Lin-Wyn Brennan. Now, the significance here is that George Lucas and Dave Filoni worked so very closely for, I guess, 7 years? 2005 to, I guess, 2012. So 7 years. Just about 7 years. They worked very, very closely. People always say he's the apprentice to George Lucas. And Dave has gone on to do 1,000,001 different things, from animation like Rebels and Bad Batch and Clone Wars Season 7 and the Clone Wars first 6 seasons as well, to Tales of the Jedi and all that stuff, to live action, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and now he's going to get his own movie. He's also an executive producer on the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. He's now the CEO. He's now the president, co-president of the company. So, we know, again, based off of all of the work Dave Filoni has done, you look at Star Wars Rebels itself, it's all just concept art images, old designs that were never used, put into Star Wars Rebels and used in the story. Zeb's design is the original concept art for Chewbacca. Chopper's design is the original concept art, or one of the original concept arts for R2-D2. Even stuff like Asmorgan. Asmorgan is an original concept design for Jabba the Hutt. It happens over and over and over again. And Dave Filoni loves to do stuff like that. Loves to bring back old George Lucas things that either didn't work or didn't happen and bring them to life. And one of those things might just be a Star Wars Underworld show that George Lucas himself finished 50 scripts of. Think about the publicity that this would have for the Star Wars fandom. There are so many Star Wars fans that want George Lucas back and working on Star Wars. Now, that's not going to happen. George has been very, very, very clear on that he will not be working on Star Wars. However, there's one guy that's gotten George Lucas to the set. One guy, and that's Dave Filoni. He was on the set of The Mandalorian, and I believe he's on the set of Ahsoka Season 1 as well. And that's what we know of. He was probably on the set of more things too. So there's one guy who can get him on the set. There's one guy who always goes back and uses the unused stuff from George Lucas. And now that one guy is the president of the company. What do you think the chances are that Dave Filoni, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day, but at some point in the future, greenlights this? Because imagine the fandom's reaction. George Lucas may not be back, or maybe he does come back as some sort of producer role. His name will have to be on it. He wrote all the scripts. But imagine the announcement. George Lucas, his unfinished or finished, because he finished 50 scripts, George Lucas's long-forgotten Star Wars Underworld show is being created. The 50 scripts that he wrote are being produced. That would be enormous. They wouldn't really have to do much work at all. They really wouldn't. I mean, they have to film the thing, and they have to cast the thing, and they have to create the show, but the scripts are done. From the mind of George Lucas, the scripts are done. in the Star Wars underworld has become more relevant now than ever. Tales of the Underworld, Maul Shadow Lord, all this stuff. The Clone Wars has countless arcs. Rebels has countless arcs of just underworld stuff. The Crimson Dawn, the Hutts. The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer we just got this week was all about the Hutts in the criminal underworld. Yeah, you got a little bit of Empire there, but it was mostly about the criminal underworld. So now more than ever, this show would make perfect sense. But tell me in the chat, do you think this will ever happen? 50 scripts, fully completed, ready to film by George Lucas. What do we think? Actually, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. Oh my God. This poll is insanely close right now. Hang on. Hang on, chat. Do you think Din Djarin and Grogu will be in Ahsoka Season 2? 52% of you say no. 48% say yes. That's one of the closest polls we've had in a really long time. That's crazy. All right, let's put up a poll. Do you think George Lucas's Underworld world show will happen? Yes or no? Now that Dave Filoni, the apprentice to George Lucas, is in charge, he's the president, and he's used all the old material from George Lucas time and time again, from concept art images to old arcs that were never completed or whatever it may be. Look at Ahsoka Season 2. The concept art images, the stuff from Mortis, I don't know why I couldn't think of that word, the stuff from Mortis, the giant robot creature looking things, those are being utilized in Ahsoka Season 2. We know that. We've seen it in the concept art. So he's already done stuff like this. He's the only guy who can get George Lucas to set. He's the only guy who's still really in active communication, as much as we know, with George Lucas. If there's anybody who can get this done, if there's anybody who can get this show to be made, it's Dave Filoni, and now he's the CEO or president of Lucasfilm. So tell me in the chat, what do you think? You think written content is still available to be used? You think written content is still available to be used? Well, George Lucas sold the scripts with the company to Disney, so they can use it however they want. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, these scripts are already integrated into Maul Shadow Lord that's coming out soon. That could be the case. That could be. I mean, think about it this way. George Lucas's sequel trilogy idea was Maul to be the bad guy, the underworld to be the big threat, Maul be the leader of the underworld with his apprentice, that's the Twi'lek. All of those ideas and concepts are being put into Maul Shadow Lord. It's just not post originals. It's right after the prequels. So the timing is different, but it's still the same idea. Criminal underworld, Maul, Twi'lek apprentice. All of that is the exact same as George Lucas's pitch for the sequels. So maybe you're right. Maybe a lot of this underworld show is being adapted into Maul Shadow Lord, which I'd be okay with. I'd be down for that. I think it depends on the new head of Disney, Bob's replacement. Josh, yeah, hopefully they start playing ball. Well, yes, the okay has to go through the CEO of Disney, but nothing's going to happen if Lucasfilm doesn't want it to, you know? Underworld would have been kind of a young Indiana Jones type adventure. Yeah, I guess set in Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah. But either way, I think it would be, I mean, we're in the best spot now to ever possibly see this show. Like, there's no, if you asked me this 2 months ago, I would have said, no, there's no way this show ever gets made. But now, with Dave Filoni in that leadership position, I mean, it's never say never type deal. That's what I'd say. Never say never. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. But there's 50 finished scripts by George Lucas. That's the pitch. You walk into the boardroom and go, look, we got 50 scripts completed by George Lucas. You know the Star Wars fans that really love this guy who created Star Wars? How about we do a show that he wrote? Oh my God, George Lucas is writing Star Wars again? No, he did it 15 years ago when he sold us the company. 50 scripts? Seems like a no-brainer to me. Seems like a no-brainer to me, but only time will tell. Only time will tell. I'm fully down for it. I mean, the underworld side of Star Wars is very, very prevalent right now. And yes, we're getting Starfighter and Dawn of the Jedi and the Kimberg trilogy and the Rey stuff, which is all revolving around lightsaber wielders. Surprisingly, Starfighter, we didn't know until recently, has lightsabers in it. But the underworld is still a very big part of the Star Wars story, mostly because you got big projects that just take place there. For example, Maul. The only story you can tell with Maul is the underworld. The Mandalorian is a bounty hunter. All that stuff is underworld. So Star Wars has really been about the underworld from the beginning. Boba Fett, even Han is a smuggler. So you've always had that underworld feel to it. The cantina scene is all these bad people. Underworld type place. Tatooine is an Outer Rim planet, not really very controlled by the Empire too much. It's the underworld. It's the underworld. Yeah. Can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Ba-ba. I'm still hanging out hope for the hunt for Ben Solo. Well, I guess if one gets greenlit, the other is more likely. Because if the hunt for Ben Solo happens, that means Dave Filoni got his way. That means Bob Iger being gone is a change in a shift in power over at Disney. And things are going to be, more open. But we'll see. We shall see. Okay. Let's talk about Galactic Racer really quickly, because this got a big old update this week as well. And we haven't really talked about it because we had so much other things to talk about. But Galactic Racer, we watched the gameplay trailer on Saturday's stream last week. I think it was. Yeah, because Samantha was here and we watched it with her. But we got a lot of cool gameplay from it. And this is a little clip from that. So, I mean, visually it looks awesome. You got the Jakku map here. It just, fiery explosions when you crash. It looks so cool. And the biggest thing for me, it's multiplayer. We haven't had a Star Wars multiplayer game in a millennia, it feels like. I guess you had Star Wars Squadrons, but that wasn't really a big hit. You have to go all the way back to Battlefront 2 to have a really big console hit that was multiplayer. Because, yes, the Jedi games are great. Love me some Cal Kestis. Wouldn't trade it for the world. But I need a multiplayer game, and this is just the best option because it's multiplayer and it's coming out soon. No release date yet, but we do have a lot of new information. So take a look at this. Details for Star Wars Galactic Racer. Being developed by former devs of Need for Speed and Burnout, which is huge. I mean, Need for Speed was a big old game when it was first released. Has an immersive solo campaign with with branching paths. So I guess your campaign can be different from other people's based off the decisions that you make in the, I guess, races that you win. But immersive solo campaign that'll probably be really fun, and where I think the Ben Quadinaros return and Saboba's return will happen is in that campaign, because I doubt that they will be in the multiplayer aspect of the game. But either way. 12-player online mode or online multiplayer, 12 racers, which is like Mario Kart. You know, who doesn't love Mario Kart? Scenario mode with the unique racing conditions, which I assume is just... I don't really know. Scenario mode. I guess you could put yourself in like last place or something. Vehicles include pod racers, repulsor crafts, land speeders, skim speeders, and speeder bikes. So pod racers, of course, from the pod race in The Phantom Menace and a bunch of other designs. You can probably, hopefully, use Anakin's and Sebulba's and Ben's pod racers in the game. I'm hoping there's a customizable aspect to it, like you can upgrade your pod race. But the repulsor crafts, I believe, the land speeders are like the ones that Luke has on Tatooine. You know, that land speeder. There's a lot of different variations of that. Skim speeders. The speeder bikes are the ones from Endor that Luke and Leia go blasting across. Let me see. Skim speeders. Oh, okay. I mean, this is the one from... Oh, no, wait. No, that's not it. Yeah, skim speeders. Oh, okay. Can you actually use the one? This is a ski speeder, it says. But you're talking about like this one from Crate in The Last Jedi. I guess, yeah, you're talking about something like that. Right there. And then what was the last one? It does kind of look like a pod racer, honestly. But the last one was a repulsor. Was it? Repulsor craft. Hang on, let's see. Repulsor craft. Repulsor craft. This is just pod racers. Wait, what? Hang on, Jet. Looked up repulsor craft, and the only thing that... Getting a bunch of different things here. Maybe like what Rey is driving on that. Oh, imagine this is one. That'd be crazy. Either way, a lot of really cool stuff going on there. I'm hoping there's a big customizable aspect to the game. I guess only time will tell, but it does look really, really fun. I'm hoping for a release date sometime soon. We have 2 big Star Wars video games coming out this year. So between Galactic Racer and Zero Company, they're going to have to spread out the releases of these games. So I would assume that one comes out in and around May. I'd love for a May the 4th release date of Galactic Racer. That would be awesome. But one will probably come out in May and then one towards the end of the year. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. All right, going back to The Mandalorian and Ahsoka Season 2 for that matter, we do have some new information and new toys that leaked out for The Mandalorian and Grogu that do give us a little bit more info on the movie. So let's take a look at this first. This is from Disney Parks themselves, the official account for Disney Parks. As your next bounty arrives later this spring, Droid Factory BDX droids, which are these new guys, and The Mandalorian talking action figures are coming to Disney stores and the parks. So we got a talking Din Djarin. I assume he's going to say, "This is the way," and or "I can bring you in warm," or "I can bring you in cold." You got Grogu with his nice armor on. You got and then Zalin up there, and you got the jetpack. So that's no real surprises there. Just cool stuff. And then these dudes. So these were designed pretty much for the movie and for the parks because these guys are walking around the parks by themselves. And now I assume that you can buy them and remotely control them as it looks like. But either way, you can get them in the 4-pack. There, more merchandise will be coming out or leaking out, I should say, as we get closer and closer to the movie. And you'll get information like Carson Teva being involved in a Lego set where we haven't seen Carson Teva in any of the trailers yet or promotional things for the movie. It could be like an accidental leak, could be as big as showing us that massive characters in the movie. Carson Teva is really cool, but he's not like, the big deal. Okay. We do have some GIFs, by the way. GIF or GIF? What do you guys, what do you call them? GIFs or GIFs? Because we got a bunch of GIFs for the Mandalorian and Grogu now. This one of Din Djarin being all serious and you know, angry. This with his helmet being taken off right there. Embo, the goat himself. Weird that they're not identifying Embo as Embo. Strange to me. Embo right there, and then Din versus Stinky the Hut, which is going to be awesome. We even have more here of the dragon snake, which, by the way, really, really cool. I did not know that the dragon snake is from The Empire Strikes Back. Remind me to tell you about that in a second. So you got the dragon snake there, Grogu eating the cookie there, Grogu gearing up, his suit up scene. And let's save the rest for after dinner. So that one too. So let's go back to this dragon for a second. Did you know that the water creature, I guess that's what we should call it, the water creature that is on Dagobah when R2 falls into the water and it attacks R2-D2, that snake-like creature is the exact same species as this monster here, and they're both called dragon snakes. That's pretty wild. So the name is Dragon Snake. It's appeared in this trailer. It's appeared in the Clone Wars when Quinlan Vos and Quinlan and Obi-Wan are chasing down Zero the Hutt on Nal Hutta. You see one of these things attack Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan makes quick use of it. He uses his lightsaber and stabs it through the skull. It's pretty crazy. But this is the third time we've seen this dragon snake. It's been mentioned before in other things, but it was originally seen in the swamp of Dagobah, and then it was on Nal Hutta attacking Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, and now it's here, which is pretty damn cool. Yeah. Jif is the peanut butter? Exactly. Exactly. And the thing I don't get to is like people who call it GIF and GIF. It's spelled GIF. Yeah. I love the Clone Wars scene where Quinlan Vos says, "Are you done messing around?" Yeah, because Obi-Wan is fighting for his life against this giant dragon snake, like Din Djarin will be too. And he pulls out his lightsaber and kills the thing, and then Quinlan's like, "Are you done messing around?" Pretty great. Quinlan Vos, a character we need more of. Definitely a character we need more of in Star Wars. Indeed. The person that created them says that it's pronounced as GIF. Well, the person that created them is an idiot. The person that created them is so stupid, he doesn't even know how to say his own creation. You know, if he wanted to, he would have called them JIFs. Now, maybe he couldn't do that because of the peanut butter, but I don't give a damn, okay? It's GIF. GIF. The English language is hard. It ain't that hard. But I digress. Okay, so we got the GIFs. We got the peanut butter for the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is pretty cool. Oh, this is what I was talking about too. So this is the dragon snake. Here you have him in the Mandalorian and Grogu. There you have him attacking Obi-Wan. Both of these scenes, I think, are on Nal Hutta, but one of them made its way off planet somehow, some way, to the planet of Dagobah. As you can, I mean, that's all you see of it. It's like the shark from Jaws. But, yeah. Quinlan Vos got mentioned in Kenobi. True. And he's in Tales of the Underworld. Also true. But I still don't think we have enough of him. I need more. Not just him placing Asajj Ventress in there. Yeah. Okay. But we got to that. We got to that. There's another Mandalorian and Grogu thing I wanted to get to here. Hang on. Where was it? I swear I had... Oh, this was pretty good. I like this a lot. This is coming from Mandoverse Updates. It says the Mandalorian and Grogu haters have been real quiet since the new trailer. Seriously though, I am pleased that this new trailer has done so well, pleasing both pleasing fans and just being such a strong trailer. It's literally almost surpassed the views of the first trailer already, which is crazy. But there is some truth to this. The amount of hate that was seen online for the first teaser trailer, and again, a teaser trailer, was a lot. A lot. And that is the case with most Star Wars things. And there is still some hate for this new trailer. Absolutely. I mean, there's never anything that's going to have anything to do with Star Wars that isn't going to be met with some type of hate. But this trailer, this new trailer that we got 4 days ago that already has 10 million views, is still number 2 trending online or on movie charts, whatever it is. It's still, it's got the majority. It's got a lot of the Star Wars fandom excited. You look at the poll that was earlier today. People are so much more excited for this movie now than they were 4 days ago. And it seems like the trailer pleases the majority of the audience because people got really, really excited when they saw this happen. They got this epic trailer. And yes, it gives you Embo. Yes, it gives you some Hutts, and even Martin Scorsese's involved in that. But it gives you some bits and pieces of the plot. It gives you something to latch on to get excited about. Yeah. Where is it trending? It is currently number 2 trending on the movie trending charts. Yeah. Right there. Number 2 movie trending charts. Indeed. So, actually, I want to check something real quick. Let me check something real quick. Huh, interesting. Let's see. Oh, not what I was looking for. Hang on. Hang on, Chet. So this is the movie trending charts here. So Toy Story passed it. Toy Story trailer just dropped yesterday or the day before. Mandalorian and Grogu's 2. Then you got House of the Dragon Season 3. I don't know when that trailer dropped. Spider-Man Noir did come out this week too, that trailer. I forget when. Peaky Blinders trailer just came out yesterday, I think, which, by the way, looks awesome. Devil Wears Prada 2, there it is. That trailer, I don't know when that came out either. The Hail Mary Project, don't know when that came out. The Mummy. Is this like The Mummy? Or is it the Tom Cruise Mummy? Or is it something else? The Minions new trailer, which, by the way, I don't know why they recasted the Minions. What the hell are they doing there? And then you, I guess, can go down the list more and more and more. But either way, still 10 million views in its first 4 days is pretty big, and still number 2 trending after 4 days. The hype has grown, and I'm sure we'll get more TV spots. Maybe not another official trailer, but more TV spots, more merchandise leaks, all that stuff. When we get connections to Ahsoka Season 2 like we got today, when you get crazy leaks that describe a scene that involves Zeb Orrelios and could even indicate that Din and Grogu could make the crossover, but maybe not, of the blue-striped Ewing that is also seen in the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, that's when the excitement goes through the roof. That's when people start to talk about it. And that's what we like to see. Because this ship right here is going to be in Ahsoka Season 2. And it's going to likely be carrying the Lasat, Zeb Orrelios, into battle on Dathomir. That sounds awesome! So sign me up for that, and I'm fully ready for that. However, let's check out this poll really quickly. Yeah, that just gets me excited, you know. Oh, and the Nightsister thing too, with the leaks of Francesca being a Nightsister and all that. So this poll was, I forget what this poll was. Oh, do you think that George Lucas's Underworld could still happen? 52% of you say yes, 48% say no. Another 52-48 poll? What is going on today? We indecisive today, chat? What's up with that? What's up with that? I gave you a thumbs down for spoiling things. I don't know what to tell you. The title says leaks, and leaks aren't true a lot of the time. That's why we're here. I can't spoil something I've never seen before, and I've never seen The Mandalorian and Grogu. So I'm in the exact same boat as you are. But I'm sorry? I think? Yeah. Okay. I don't know how it spoils something I've never seen before, but I'll try my best. Either way. All right, fuck this guy. Okay. Either way. My excitement level has gone through the roof this week, just this week alone, in the last 4 days alone, because of this Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Through the roof. It's the exact same thing that happened with Maul Shadowlord. When that trailer dropped, people were like, holy crap, Shadowlord is going to be awesome. Because we got this action-packed, new design, Maul, Twi'lek Apprentice, is it Darth Talon, is it not Darth Talon, all that great stuff. And now the same thing happened with Mandalorian and Grogu. The only difference is this is the first Star Wars movie in 6 years. So the excitement is going to keep on growing. Either way, my excitement has gone through the roof, and I'm sure many of yours has as well. But Ahsoka Season 2 still remains, at least on this channel, the top dog from that first poll. 40% of you guys being the most excited for that movie. I mean, that show, sorry. That project for 2026. Can't even figure out my dates. But until next time, smash a freaking like in this stream. I do have to get on out of here to go finish my short for today. But watch out for that at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, yeah. So, yeah. You got the airlock. Yikes. Well, I mean, yeah. I put up with it for a couple weeks, but, it just got too far. Too far. That's fine. Either way. All right. With that being said, smash a freaking like on this stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell to get notified every time I post a video. In my pretty face, show the recommended video yours. English. But until next time, watch out for that short later on today. Of course, I guess live streams every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for the rest of your lives. And may the force be with you. Always. No way. Chopper, you fixed this hyperspace? Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. This was quite the live stream. Saturdays, people have the day off sometimes. For the most part, I mean, people work on the weekends too. I mean, I'm working right. Am I working right? Holy crap. This is work. Damn it. I'm taking the day off. But Saturdays are always the more, hype stream because most people have the day off and, but this week was a big week for Star Wars fans getting the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. These Ahsoka leaks are great too. But Maul Shadowlord is right around the corner as well. So we got a lot to get hyped up about. And the hyperspace is fixed. So can't get much better than that. But if you have not already, smash a freaking like on this stream. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.